So I told you I was mad.
Hi everybody. The video you're going to see is basically a little bit of footage of me on my bike. I've been into motorcycling for a long time. There was a large gap while my kids were little kids, and they've now grown up a bit. But back in the late 80s, I got my first motorbike, and I used to go around with my headphones on. Not wearing the proper gear. I'd be wearing like jeans and a rubbish leather jacket, the cheapest helmet I could buy, and I wouldn't be wearing boots, and the gloves, sure, pointless. Anyhow, I have a passion for this. I love motorcycling. But back then, one of the songs I used to listen to was Freebird by Lynyrd Skynyrd. A lot of you probably don't know the song, a lot of you probably do, but you know the film Forrest Gump? If you can picture when the Jenny, when she's like on the balcony of a hotel, and she climbs up on the ledge of the balcony, and she's on the verge of throwing herself off there. Well, that's the song that they play then. But for me, this song, Freebird, always was inspiring. It was uplifting, and it's like, you know, go get 'em, because like the tempo of the song builds and builds, and it's, you know, always like I loved it. I still love the song. But the image now from the film Forrest Gump of Jenny up on that edge, looking at committing suicide, it now has changed the whole aspect of what that song means to me. It might be just because of my age. I'm in my 40s, and you look at the world slightly differently. But there's another thing is, I'd say for like the last 6 years, 6 years ago, I'd say it was then 6 years ago, I had my first panic attack. Came out of the blue. I didn't have a clue what was happening. I thought I was having some sort of a heart attack or something. I didn't know what it was. I'd finished work that day. I was a carpenter at my own business. I sat down, had dinner with my family. Finished dinner. Nothing too wild for dinner, just general stuff. Sat down to watch a little telly, and my heart rate just started to increase, to get faster and faster. And it got to the point where I was just totally conscious of my heart rate. And my heart rate went into what's called tachycardia. It was close to 200 beats a minute, and sweat was coming out of me, and I was shaking, and I was basically just losing control of myself. And it was a deep-rooted fear. It was an anxiety-based fear was bringing this out in me. I blamed all sorts of things, something I'd eaten, you know, all sorts of things, you know. And I was fine. You know, the next day I had a pain in my chest because, you know, the old heart had been going 90. But I got over it. Everything was fine. And then about 2 weeks later, the same thing happened again. We all jumped in the car, drove me into the hospital. I sat there in a waiting room, shaking like a leaf, heart rate, sweating. Went in and sat down with a doctor, and within 2 or 3 minutes, everything was calmed back down. Everything was all right. They gave me this little tablet, and everything got very all right. So I was told by this doctor in the hospital I should go and see my general practitioner, my everyday doctor. So I went and saw him a few days later. And he said he thought it was stress, that it was anxiety, it was a panic attack. And I was sort of like, nah, that's nonsense. But anyhow, he insisted that I go and see a therapist, you know, a cognitive behavioural therapist. And the lady was lovely. She talked me through a few things, you know, how it was, could be this, it could be that, could be the other. And the best thing for me to do was basically keep a journal about how my days were, if I experienced anything, you know, and to take the tablets which my doctor had given me. And they were basically like a Xanax. They're a Valium based thing, and I call them happy pills, you know. So I was to basically take these, one a day, or one in the morning, one in the evenings, for like 2 weeks. And then if I felt not at ease or anything, I was to take another one. So that's how it went. So I didn't really take the medication, and I had bouts of anxiety. So then I said, right, I'll do what the doctor said. I took the tablets. The anxiety waned for a little bit, but I always felt unease. I felt, you know, this isn't right. There's something not right here, you know. But anyhow, I then went looking on the internet all about it and tried so many different things until eventually I found this one guy, and he gave a free email service. You'd get an email each day, and positive thinking and all the rest of it, and realization. And it took me years. It has basically taken me till within the last year to have control over this anxiety. And it's not so much control over anxiety, it's to realize there are certain things which can cause anxiety. Things which, as a man, most men, we just say, sure, we'll get over it. We ignore things, you know. Women tend to be better at dealing with stress because they talk to one another, and that's an issue which us men, fellas, lads, whatever you want to call us, that we don't communicate. And when we don't communicate these things, they bore in deeper. We want to accepting the stress and the anxiety as part of life, and we try to live with it. And some people can live with it. Some people it's either a symptom of, or it moves on to being full-blown depression, and you can wind up in places in your head which are very hard to get out of. We had a family member, a young man, who died just recently, who has been suffering with depression for a long time. Even though he had great family support around him, he had a great mum, a great dad, great sister, and aunts and uncles around him. He, for no apparent reason, out of the blue, committed suicide. And this is a young man in his early 20s. Great looking guy, loads of prospects ahead of him, educated fella, but something had bored deep into his psyche, and brought him to that place, to that moment where he went and did what most people think of as unthinkable. A lot of people think that there was something wrong with him that caused him to do this, but there isn't. These things can happen to anybody, to any one of us. Any one of us can go to that point, from the strongest guy to the weakest guy. Any one of us can wind up there. But there is a hope for everybody as well. If you can reach out to somebody, if you can just talk, you can express how you feel, okay? If you share, by sharing, people can care. When somebody cares for you, and you know they care, people are sharing your feelings, then you're not alone, okay? Having the best loving family around you, you can still feel alone. You can feel alone in a crowd. because you're keeping everybody out. You know, a lot of it is people feel shame of being about anxiety, stress. They feel it's a weakness, and that is our male weakness. We have a weakness to think that these things are a weakness. They're not. They're just a factor of life, and by talking to others you can get over them. But if you don't talk to others, if you keep it to yourself, then that's when things can go wrong. And that was one thing I learned to do. I told everybody, I'm not ashamed of the fact that I had anxiety, I have anxiety. I suffered from panic attacks. Okay, I had 2 major panic attacks. They say the first 2, once you've hit them, it's easy sailing from there. But that's not true. Things can go bad, things can go wrong, and just keep on top of it. When things get you down, talk to somebody. Make sure there's somebody there. Not somebody who just says, blows off, get over it. That doesn't help. Okay, so like just say somebody approaches you and tells you that there's something wrong with them, that they don't feel good, that, you know, they're getting down. Listen. Right? If you suffer, talk. If you're a friend, listen. Because there should be no reason for a family to be torn apart, for a young person to end their life. You know? Like for me, I got my bike in. For me, I'm Superman on my bike. Okay, not I'm invincible, but I get to fly. You know. So everybody can find something out of it to make them feel good. So if you're feeling bad, like I keep saying, I've said over and over again now, make sure you talk, make sure you share. I'd hate the idea that there's so many young men out there, so many young people who've got to the point of despair, who take it beyond that point of despair and end things. Life is like this road, you know. It's got its ups, it's got its downs, it's got its curves. You're going to meet people, you're going to pass out others, leave others behind, others are going to leave you behind. Okay? It's like a journey. It's loads of cliches. I can throw all the cliches out there, but life is a journey. We don't know how long the journey is. You know, you can say life is a story. Okay, some of us get a great essay. Some of us get, you know, a few paragraphs. Some of us only get a single line, and even less of us get just one word. Okay. Make your story as full as possible. As many words as there can be. You know, don't leave any blank pages. Leave that a story for people to tell of. Whatever you do, don't crumple up the page and throw it away. Okay. That if you find that you do need someone to talk to, I'm not saying contact me, but if you want to, you can. If you want to PM me with stuff, you can. But there's always professional help out there. Okay? There is always somebody who cares. Even if you look out into that world and you don't see light, you see darkness, there is somebody out there who cares. Okay? But the first person who has to care is you. You have to care for yourself. Thanks a million, guys. For those who do know James, please think of James now. I didn't know him well. I wish I had known him well. I wish I had a chance to get to know him well. Thank you all. Good luck. Bye bye.